Christmas Story.
Christmas Story. Classic of that movie. All right. Anyone else watch any Christmas movies lately?
Snoopy. I love Snoopy.
Oh, Snoopy. We have 2 little kids, so we've been watching Christmas Mickey.
Christmas Mickey. All right.
That's Christmas Mickey. Solid.
Yep. Pretty soon they'll be moving into Charlie Brown Christmas and
You're doing a lot of the Grinch.
The Grinch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot. Maybe too much.
Good.
I'm doing well.
Good tip.
All right. All right. Well, welcome everyone. It is December 18th, 2025. And we're here for the Pilgrim Tourism Promotion Advisory Board meeting. It is now 6:01 p.m. And I will get started with the call. I'll do the roll call. Carly Wright is not with us as far as I know. So Vice Chair Anton Cobb. Here.
Here.
Roger Williams.
Here.
Moses Keener.
Here.
Melissa O'Shea.
Here.
I saw Betsy Vega here. And then online, Aaron Zeisip.
Here.
And Christy's down there, Christy Reed.
Here.
And then Tony with us today.
Yeah.
Valley. So we have 7 of our 9 here. I'll turn time over to Anton for welcoming and approval of minutes and stuff.
Yeah. Well, welcome everyone. Excited to be here. I'm sure 50% of us are 50% sick right now. So thanks for coming out.
Not me.
No? All right. Not me either. It's just, tea for the throat. But yeah, we're really excited about the meeting today. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda and past minutes, minutes 2 and 4?
So Roger moved. Do we have a second?
Melissa seconded.
Melissa seconded?
Yeah, did I second that?
Oh, you do.
Oh, and it's okay. It's Christy. I'm like, did I say that out loud?
Okay, Christy seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, agenda and past minutes. Approved.
Going over the typical year. It's in the packet. You guys can take a look at that. But we are at the point in time where all the applications were received for the next cycle. The December meeting is where we take a look at the facility operator applications. So that would be all 9 of the facility operators and the capital improvement grants they submitted and the events that they submitted. So that's where we're at in the year. In January, we'll be going over the first half of the event grants, and February we'll finish up the second half of the event grants. And then March, all the scoring will be due, and we'll know what the budget is proposed for and which applications are being recommended for funding at the March meeting. And we'll go to that point.
Do we have any public comments outside of the agenda? Anyone online?
Any comments online? Items that are not on the agenda? Okay.
All right, so we'll move to the next agenda item. We've got 3 items requiring action, starting with Travel Salem's annual report presentation. I'll I want to make a disclosure prior to Angie getting started there. I was a former employee of Travel Salem, so some of the timeframe of the report might align with when I was there. So I'll make that disclosure. Welcome, Angie and Travel Salem.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Great. I'm going to share my screen here. Hopefully you can see it.
Yep.
I'm going to see. Sorry, I'm trying to get organized here on my own screen. Can you see it okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. Committee Vice Chair Anton Cobb, nice to see you, of course, and everybody else in the room there. Thank you for having us. We're delighted to share with you some highlights of our 24-25 fiscal year, some of the accomplishments. It feels like a long time ago already, given how much things are moving quickly and the fast pace of business these days, but I'm going to share some highlights with you. As usual, please feel free to stop me with any questions you might have. I'm also happy to take questions at the end as well, but we'll just go ahead and jump right in. So 24-25 was the highest year on record for a number of our metrics, our key performance measurements. So the industry generated in the year of 2024 almost $800 million in economic impact. That's very close to $1 billion. So huge impact on our local communities and our small businesses and our attractions and all the great folks that make up our industry. We realized about almost 2.7 million visitors. We support almost 8,000 jobs, which those folks earn about $250 million that they pump back into our local communities. So tourism is the type of economic engine that turns over multiple times. The dollar turns over multiple times in the community. I think it's one of the highest turnovers of any industry. This is what those numbers look like when you kind of split out Marion County and Polk County. Marion County making about $560 million worth of that, $793 million, and Polk County about $234 million of that. Our hotel average daily rate and our occupancy, how those two metrics work together determines how the TOT performs. And so our ADR for 2025, which refers to our average daily rate at our hoteliers, was up 3.1%. We'll take that 0.1%. It does matter. And you can see here in this chart right below, in the red lines, how well the ADR performed throughout the year. It was up every single month over prior year, which is wonderful. It's what we love to see. And over here on the right is our occupancy, which also was up to about 2.3%. So occupancy did very well as well. So with both of those metrics going up, you should expect our TOT to perform very well itself, which it did. $5.3 million in collections in the TOT, which resulted in 7 out of the 12 months were best on record. Astounding performance in 24-25 in terms of our TOT. So wonderful work there. And that was, all those hotel rooms being sold is due to all of you in this room as well. You helped drive a lot of that overnight stay. So we're so grateful for all the hard work that you do. One of the other metrics that we measure is our leverage, which you've heard me talk about before, which is our donated products and services that help us leverage the cash that we get. And so we track all kinds of things, including our visitor guide value, because we don't actually have to produce that. Somebody else produces that and sells all the advertising, but we get the benefit of that. So we take that comparable value as leverage. Our volunteers, our public relations, and our earned media exposure. If we had to buy that exposure, we'd pay a lot for that, but we get it through a staff person or a contractor that's doing that work for us. So we count that value and so forth. So about $2.9 million in 24-25 in terms of the leverage that we generated to leverage the cash that we have. Our strategic plan outlined 4 core areas of focus that we work under for the last fiscal year. Our externally focused core areas of focus were in destination experience, destination development, destination marketing. And then we had an internally focused KPI of the organizational optimization. So we're working in all 4 of those areas, and we're going to kind of split these results up accordingly to help show you how that all comes together. So advertising, a big part of what we do. It's important in how we promote the destination, stay top of mind with the consumer. And so last year we did about almost 16 million digital impressions. Those are from our online ads, our Google ads, Expedia blogs, and social media. That work had about 250,000 print ad impressions that generated almost 23,000 room nights. So that's beautiful. Those are beautiful numbers to see there. You can see some of the sample ads that we do here on the right. So you can see how we promote the destination. One of the things I'll also mention is we really promote in 3 main areas. We promote the cultural heritage segment, our recreation, and our culinary. So you can kind of see all 3 of those segments represented here. On the Expedia side, we do a co-op with Travel Oregon. You can see that ad there on the right. And how this works is when someone goes on Expedia and they're searching for travel destinations like hotels and experiences on Expedia, and they're searching in Oregon. If they, for some reason, abandon that search, Travel Oregon retargets them with this email blast that you see here. And it features 3 specific regions in the state, and we have to pay for this exposure. But this retargeting campaign is highly, highly effective. So this is different than us running an actual ad on Expedia. That's not what this is. This is a retargeted email campaign through a partnership with Travel Oregon. So you can see our year-over-year performance here. The digital impressions were down compared to the prior year. The room nights were way, way up. I'm going to explain why in 1 second here. Hotel revenue was way, way up. So the way that Expedia works is they're targeting multiple areas of the travel funnel. So the continuum of getting folks to first, be aware of the destination, initiate a search of the destination, inquire, to booking and actually going to the destination. So Expedia is targeting these different phases. And so this specific period of time in 24-25, they were actually targeting the booking phase. So they fill the funnel with people that are interested in the destination, and then they targeting them in this specific campaign for their booking phase. So that's why this performs so well, but we have to keep filling that funnel. And Expedia controls which sort of segment of that funnel that they're targeting. Each year we don't have control over that, but they continue to make sure that that funnel is full and it's driving to the bookings, which you see here. So very successful campaign. We do some work with KPTV. We have a weather cam on top of the Holman Hotel, and that drove 1.1 million viewers or impressions this last fiscal year. And it's featured about 30 or more times a month. So that's great exposure to keep the destination top of mind. And we really appreciate the partnership with the Holman for that campaign. On the PR side, again, this is staff work. And actually, we hired a contractor that also does work for Travel Oregon and WAVA. And that same contractor is very obviously familiar with our region. And so we're able to leverage all the relationships that they have built to get some media coverage, national and international media coverage. So this is the work that was done last year, generated about $142 million in media coverage. So the advertising equivalent there. Oh, that's Kara. Sorry, that's not dollars. That's impressions. Maybe.
Yeah, she said yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Sorry, that would be astounding if it was $142 million worth of media exposure. I would really love that. Sorry to mislead you there. So those are impressions. And then there's a couple examples here of some of the coverage that we do secure. So you can see Raise the Curtain Historic Theaters. We featured the Elsinore in that coverage there in the VIA magazine. The ad value of that was almost $30,000, and it reached about 3.6 million people. The other one was in USA Today, and it featured the Coria Estates, so the culinary side of things, and it had an ad value of about $60,000. So those are just a couple examples. On our website, travelsalem.com, we secured about 411,000 online visits to our website. And the website is very robust. We're working really hard all of the time to make sure that our content is searchable by AI, that it's translated into multiple languages, that the content is fresh and engaging and responding to what the travel trends are telling us and how consumers want to get information about the destination. So website is key in driving a lot of that economic impact. On the social media side, it's another way that we move the needle. In 24-25, our goal was about 14 million, and we drove about 10 million in reach on our social media posts. And I just want to share a caveat here. In the past, we've had a full-time person doing this work, but due to some budget realignment in our STPA funds, we were only able to contract with a part-time contractor to do this work last year. So that's why you're going to see this number down. But even with a part-time contractor, we were still very successful. Would we have loved to have had a full-time person doing this? Yes. And we are moving to that this fiscal year. But last year we had a part-time person. And here's some examples of the different coverage that we were able to secure and content created. So lots of diversity. We have a lot of bounty in our region, a lot of different assets that we can promote. So our social media is really, really fun. Blogs are key to how we drive bookings. So we actually tie our Google ads to our blogs, which also helps drive visibility, but also helps us rank and search and all of that. So these are some examples of some of our blog content. Summer area, Salem area summer events you don't want to miss. So that was one of them. Another one was the Regions Past comes alive at these historic hotspots. You can see Willamette Heritage Center featured there. And our gardens were focused in the Go Garden Hopping in the Salem region blog. Wine Country Plate money, we get about $100,000 a year roughly for that. We manage that program. We work with an advisory committee of 27 people representing 3 counties, Marion, Polk, and Yamhill counties. And last year, we launched a broadcast and TV commercial marketing campaign in Seattle and in Dallas, Texas. And you might say, well, why did you choose those 2 markets? The data from our wine community shows that the visitation from those specific markets to our wine country is very high. And so we wanted to target those 2 markets to continue to drive that visitation. So we had about almost 4 million video views on that content that was marketed there. On the convention and meeting side of things, so this is us doing work to secure large conventions if possible, meetings, weddings, reunions, all kinds of things in this space. And so last year we had about $18 million worth of economic impact generated through almost 29,000 room nights through our meetings and convention business. And for future definite, so this dark green circle down here shows all of the business that has been booked for future years. So we have about $56 million worth of business coming down the line in future years. Ironman. We never get tired of talking about Ironman. Ironman, we're, I think, going into our 6th year. I think we launched this, we secured this in 2020, right in the middle of COVID. And it has turned out to just be one of the best things that we could have done, really. It's come back every single year. It's a half Ironman. Our river is a downriver swim, which makes this course very highly attractive to Iron men and women who want to compete. It drove about over $11 million over that weekend just from this one race, and it has been voted the #1 overall run in their global portfolio. We are ranked #4 in North America in terms of the races that sell out first. So this is still a very highly successful race. We are in contract with them for 5 years, so we still have a few more years to go, and we hope to renew with them at that time. But it's a great event. And we are looking at some different ways to ensure that Ironman gives back to the community, create some legacy projects from that, make sure that visitors aren't just staying in the riverfront, but they're coming downtown and doing all of that. So we've got some strategies in place for this coming event in July of 26. Really quick, our sports, Salem Area Sports Commission, which is a program of Travel Salem. We have a sports council of about 20 people that help provide a lot of insight and guidance to our staff on that. We completed a sports venue analysis last year and looked at different opportunities for updating current venues, what needs to happen. Obviously, we need more turf, we need lighting, we need some equipment at some of our facilities, and we need to develop a pickleball facility or a sport court. Luckily, we have a partner who's actually doing that pickleball facility. So we're really excited to be able to talk about that as that gets further down the road. On the destination development side, we also did some work with Resilient Headwaters. I want to acknowledge Kara in this. She did apply for a grant from Travel Oregon and secured $130,000 for Resilient Headwaters for the work, the trail building, all of the ADA accessibility that they're doing out there, how they're tracking and documenting these trails so that people understand, you know, the elevation, how long they are, how difficult these, all kinds of information. And so by developing this product out there, it's all about lengthening the stay. If people have, you know, a few different trails they want to take on, they might need to stay 3 or 4 days to do that. And so there's a strategy behind why we get involved in products like this. Resilient Headwaters is out in the Santiam Canyon, and we're so proud of the work that those folks are doing. They're doing some great work out there. On the right, you see one of our board members, Greg Leo, giving a talk on one of our Tourism Economic Development Consortium meetings, which we hold quarterly. We bring together city, county, DMO, anybody who's in that economic development space to talk about issues or ideas, opportunities or challenges. We also did some work in Wheel the World. We were one of the few destinations that Travel Oregon worked with to identify some of our more accessible product in our market and how we could improve that product. And so we did work with them on that. And I'm really excited to say that Oregon has received the first designation as, I can't remember the official designation, the name of it, I'm sorry, but Oregon was the first one in the country to be identified as a accessible state destination. Commercial air service. Oh boy. As you all are probably very keenly aware, we lost commercial air service in August of this year. When Avelo left the market, they pulled out of Burbank. They closed all of their operations there, their West Coast operations. So we were a casualty of that. There has been quite a bit of work to try to secure a new carrier. I don't have any information to report at this moment. We did secure $1.5 million for a new MRG, which is a minimum revenue guarantee, which is an incentive package for the airline to come into the market. So we have 1.5 million, but we do have an opportunity where we could get daily service to Seattle and San Diego, but we need another 1.5 million. So we need a $3 million package to secure that. We haven't had any luck getting that other 1.5 million. So we're sort of at a standstill at the moment. The sad news is that TSA has provided written notice that they will be coming to pick up the equipment from the airport. And once that equipment has been removed, it's going to be very difficult for us to get back in the game on this for a very long time. So clock is ticking, but I don't have any further update on that. I do apologize. If you know anybody that has 1.5 million sitting around and are feeling very giving during this holiday season, have them give me a call. Really quick on the state of the industry, this is a visitor snapshot of sort of some key demographic information about who is coming to our destination here. So the top countries of origin are listed on the upper left there. You can see we do get quite a bit of international travel here, Canada being our number one, with the current economic condition of our country and the tariffs and so forth, we have been seeing a decline there. We cannot 100% provide a lot of data on that, but we do know anecdotally that we're getting less folks here. Top states of Oregon. Oregon likes to travel Oregon. They like to explore their own backyard. So those are our top states of origin. You can see the average household income. How many of those households have children? The average spend is about $851 when they come on a trip here and stay 3.4 days. That's a really good spend. So they're leaving all of that money behind in our community, and they're very, very satisfied, overall satisfied with the destination's amenities and experience here. Primary purpose of travel remains leisure. You know that we do spend a lot of time at Travel Salem trying to push the needle on group business, so our sales efforts, but still it's important to recognize that the majority of tourism dollars coming in the community are leisure-based. Those are families and corporate and all kinds of things traveling here. Visitor type is largely overnight. You can see the activities happening in destination there. So heritage and culture are important. They're kind of in the middle of that stack. Visiting friends and relatives, that's really, really important for us to pay attention to. People love to come and visit their family here and their friends here. And when they do, they leave a lot of money here. So we have campaigns, we have a lot of strategies around how we target visiting friends and relatives. So that's really important to us. You can see the region could improve certain things there. Public restrooms would be the primary one, road conditions, signage, and so forth. You don't really see homelessness or houseless folks on this. They might be maybe under safety or other, but that wasn't specifically called out. So I did want to mention that. And we have been making a lot of progress, and thanks to the city for that in terms of the efforts to get downtown cleaned up and so forth. The type of lodging is clearly still hotel. Visiting friends and relatives, they stay with their family or they stay in hotels. And then the Travel Salem marketing that is used, this tells us what resources and tools we provide that they're using and relying on in terms of planning their trip, using these resources on the ground when they're here and so forth. And then you can see some additional demographic information on the right there. Our strategic plan we launched last year it was a year-long process of finalizing our new 5-year strategic plan. I want to thank all of you in the room who contributed and gave us feedback and came to our focus groups and all of that. Thank you so much. That really, really makes a difference in terms of how we are able to respond to the needs of the market and our partners. We did change the plan, so I think earlier I mentioned we had 4 core areas of focus. We've reduced that down to 3. We are, as Travel Salem, considered a destination marketing and management organization. So the 2 main buckets are marketing and management, and then we still have the focus on our organizational optimization. I want to highlight really quickly the work of the Salem Tourism Promotion Area. So that's a 2% fee that the hotels collect when guests stay at their hotel. And that money is directed to Travel Salem, and it has provided about $1 million in marketing and advertising funding that we've never had before. So it's really been effective. We've been doing it for 5 years. These are some different projects that were initiated. We got some portable flooring out at the Oregon State Fair and Expo Center, the Expedia advertising we talked about earlier, our Willamette Valley Open pickleball tournament that we put on, our KPTV weather cam, all of the things that we do on the advertising side are funded by the STPA. This is our committee. I just wanted to give them a shout out. These are all partners. I would highly recommend if you do not know these people by name or can't pick up the phone and call them, I highly recommend you get to know them. Make them your best friend. They are front and center with the visitor. As you know, when you travel destinations, we all ask the front desk folks or the concierge, what is there to see and do here? What do I need to do while I'm here? And these folks are directing visitors around. So they all need to be well familiar with your properties, your experiences, your attractions. And just so you know, our sales team is putting together a front desk fan tour for probably May-ish of 26, where they'll be bringing the front desk folks around to the different attractions. So you will be getting calls about that. We'll be coordinating that, but definitely get to know these folks. These are some stats related to organizational optimization. So these are the numbers that I talked about earlier in terms of how they're driving the total TOT. But I want to move on to a couple of things here. This is my last thing for 24-25. Last year, our consumer engagement went up about 4 million. So 175 million consumer engagements. And what that means is how many times we have to touch or interact with a visitor to get them to book. So that's through our social media, our website, all of the different things that we're doing, our sales, our all of it, our public relations. And so somebody can be counted multiple times in here. If you went to our website, if you went to our Facebook, if you ordered a visitor guide, if you went to our visitor center, you're going to be counted all those times in here. But it took 175 million consumer engagements last year to drive the numbers that we saw earlier. This is the team that's doing the work. I'm sorry, I don't have an updated chart for you. This position right here, our executive support coordinator, has been filled, and we're in the process of hiring our social media and content coordinator. But this is the group of folks that are doing the work behind the scenes. So Kara oversees our Marcom, our marketing communications team. Joey Jewell oversees our sales team. Irene oversees our strategy. And then what you see up here in our executive center, you see visitors and residents. Our industry and board of directors are really controlling how we work as Travel Salem. Quick thing. So looking forward, I don't get in front of you guys very often. So I just want to kind of talk about what's currently happening because we are halfway through the next fiscal year. 6 months.
Andy, sorry.
Yes.
You almost done on this?
Yes, I have probably 2 more minutes.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. So I want to give you an update of what's happening this fiscal year. We're 6 months in. Things are totally different than last year. As you recall, I showed you a slide that we had 7 months out of the 12 that were best performing of all time. Things have really shifted. So this red line here shows what's happening this fiscal year. We're below the yellow line, which is what happened last year. We're kind of a little bit more in line with what happened in 23, but things are down on the ADR side. The rate is down. The occupancy is also down. You can see that here in the red line. And this slide is important. I just shared this with our board of directors yesterday. This is showing what's causing these challenges. So in October, our collections were down 27% over prior year. Year to date, July through October, we're down 11%. So we're short about $230,000. This yellow line here is showing you, again, what happened last fiscal year. If you look here, the STPA marketing budget was cut. Over here in February, the tariffs started rolling out in Mexico, China, and Canada. Then when you move over here to the red line, this is showing what's happening in this fiscal year. So we've got the international visa fees were announced in July. In August, we had the cancellation of air service. In September, we had the state of Oregon do a travel ban. In October, we had the international visa fee implemented and the ICE deployment to Portland. I want to just note that we do have this coming summer, the Center Street Bridge construction coming. It's going to be from 2026 to 2030, somewhere in there. This is just to say that this is a challenging time. I know you are all feeling it as well. This is a challenging time for all of us, and there's a lot of headwinds here. But we're just trying to stay as savvy and nimble as possible to respond to the needs of our community and our stakeholders. So what I would tell you is that if you need help with anything, if there's a specific challenge you're having, or you just need somebody to vent to, you need data, you need information, please give us a call. We're here to help you and support you. Thank you for your time tonight. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Questions for Travel Salem? All right, thank you, Angie, and Travel Salem.
Thanks, Angie.
Thank you. Take care. Happy holidays.
Next item requiring action is the public acknowledgement of potential conflicts of interest by the board members.
So to provide, I'll provide a little bit of instruction and education. We've got a bunch of new board members here. So every year when we start this process, one of the first things we want to do is we want to try and have a level playing field when it comes to scoring the applications. And basically we want to kind of avoid any hint or biases. So we try and limit, if you know that you have an application that you're reviewing that you have some type of tie to, in other words, you either worked for them, received funding from them, the organization that's applying for these grants, we want to try and distance ourselves from that. So that's basically what this conflict of interest declaration is. And we'll do that at each one of the public meetings before we start reviewing the applications for that night. So, so in this case, if you or your family members have worked for or volunteered for any of the facility operators that are listed, AC Gilbert's, Bush House, Deepwood, Elsinore, Holly Ford, et cetera, we just simply ask that you make that declaration public, whatever that connection may be. And when it comes to scoring, then we'll just ask you not to score those applications. For some of you, they're not a problem. You don't have any affiliation with them. You don't have any family that works for them, or you don't volunteer for them. So no issues there. But that's really what the conflict of interest declaration is. It's just a formal public acknowledgement. And then as we get started, for the board members, I had sent out an email yesterday or the day before with a spreadsheet that kind of looks like this, and also included in the packet was the scoring rubric for the summary level. So just to kind of give you guys an idea of how this works, this is electronic version. I prefer to get an electronic version back. So each one of you can take, and just all you have to do is you have all the facility operators across the top here. And there's 3 tabs, one for facility operations, CIP is capital improvement projects, and then events. And so when you click on each one of those, you'll see the listing of what application was received. For capital improvements and events, you'll see the dollar amount being requested. With facility operations, there's not a dollar amount that they request, but they get 60% of the pie per council policy.
Chris, you're not sharing your screen.
You're right, I'm not. Aaron, you're online. Let me go ahead and see if I can share that.
If I'm the only board member online, it's okay. I've seen it before.
Yeah, I figured you might have. Yeah. Computer's a little slow. Not seeing. I wish it would give me. Let's see. There we go. Let's see. We want that one there. Yep. Okay. Yes, Aaron, can you see it now? Online?
I can, thank you.
Okay. So yeah, Aaron's seen this before, but now everyone online can see it. So basically, it has the questions that are being scored. They correspond to your scoring rubric for those internally here from the email, and the corresponding points. So this is just an example of how many points are available for each one. So as you go through, all you have to do is just take a look at which application you're looking at, whether it's which facility operator or whatever, and you just take and type in whatever number you want to give them for that score. And then it'll automatically tally at the bottom for each one of those scores that you put in. So you should see down at the bottom, there's the 5. The maximum score allowed is 25 points for every application. There are some questions that have like some bonus points. So the bonus points only help bring the score up. It does not help make it over 25. And then what I'll do is, as you go through this, you can choose to start scoring at your leisure as you read through these, or or wait till the end of tomorrow. They're not going to be, the scores aren't going to be required to be submitted to me until after our February meeting. The reason is that then you have the ability to have seen all the applications. And then you submit them within a week from after that, so after that February meeting. I'll go through, and because it's in a spreadsheet, I can then copy and paste all your scores into one consolidation, and then I can there's a little analysis, do high and low toss outs and find out what the averages are. For the scoring rubric that I sent out in that other email, they need to have 18.74 as the average score to be considered passing and being able to be funded. Any questions at this point? It's all kind of brand new for a few of you, so I want to make sure that if you do have any questions, send me an email, whatever, as you get through this and start going through it.
Chris, just for a point of clarity,
Yes.
you might have already mentioned it, but the timeline on completion of this document for the board crew, especially the new folks.
So it'll be due after the February meeting. So we'll have our February meeting on the second or third Thursday in February. Let's see if I can remember what the date is on that. February. So February 19th will be our last meeting to review it. So by the 24th or 25th of February, just email me a copy of your scores, and then I'll be able to do the compilation. And when we come back in March, then I'll have all those scores and all budget all lined up for you guys to review and approve.
Great. Any other questions? Let's see. So I believe we're moving on to the review of the TOT facility grant application.
Well, let's do one thing. Let's step one back with the Travel Salem annual report presentation. We have a motion to approve. Angie's wanting to take this to city council on the 26th of January. So you got a motion to approve and a vote. That'd be great.
Motion to approve the Travel Salem 2024-2025 annual report.
I second that.
Great. Roger.
Second discussion.
Can you expand a little bit more on the taking it to city council?
So annually, Travel Salem would like to take and have the opportunity to present this information to the council as a whole. And the way of doing that is first they have to come to the Cultural Tourism Promotion Advisory Board for your guys' review and approval. After they have that, they can go ahead and go to city council if they so choose. Angie's requested that they be able to take this report to council, and the 26th is the most likely date for that to take place, which is the second meeting that they have for city council in January.
But I guess I'm just trying to get clarity on, is it the budget that is being presented that we have? Or what is it? What is the content of what's going to be presented?
So what Angie just shared with us about their budget and what's happening with tourism in Salem, that is what she's taking to present to council.
Oh, okay.
Our budget and for these grant applications, that won't go to city council until it goes through the budget process, which starts in April, and it goes to the budget committee, who will review it, your recommendations, and then it'll go to city council after that through the normal budget process for the city.
Okay, now I understand.
Okay,
Thank you,
great.
sir.
Sorry, not to confuse. Try not to confuse.
Any further discussion? So need a vote?
Yep.
So all those in favor, say aye. All those opposed, nay. Ayes have it.
All right.
Hey, Chris, do we need to double back to 2 as well, or is that per bullet point?
Yes, to 2 for public acknowledgement, just to find out if there's any public acknowledgement. mention it.
Is there any public acknowledgements, potential conflicts of interest?
Yes. I volunteered at the Elsinore Theater. So I am not going to vote in. Because of my involvement, I'm not going to be voting on that. I was at one time the director of the Willamette Arts Center. I no longer have any affiliation with them. It's been several years. So I am not going to excuse myself. I don't have any current information from them that would cause me to use them in a negative sense. So I don't think I need to exclude myself, but definitely exclude myself from the Elsinore.
Yeah, my son worked at the Gilbert House for a couple of years, most recently. Yeah, I sat on the Deepwood board for about 8 years. We support through work, Elsinore, Alley Ford, Salem Art Association, Salem Multicultural, the Carousel, the Art Center, and Willamette Heritage. So
Are those all current?
The support, yeah,
Correct.
like, yeah, like we sponsor, do business with. Yeah. Do I get to miss that meeting?
We may ask you for the full list later.
Yeah.
Carly.
Yeah.
Melissa, you said something to?
Oh, yes, I was an intern at the Salem Art Association for about a year. I volunteered there regularly through art fairs, and my husband used to work there. But that was a couple of years ago.
More than 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, I still go there and know the employees and stuff, but yeah, that's been more than 5 years. So. Okay.
I'll mention Willamette Heritage Center. Our family may be entering into a rental agreement, so conflict of interest there. Voting. The SAA. There's for my job with the YMCA. There's a grant that may be affected by someone on the board who also has either influence or is involved in that grant. So just in case, wanted to declare that as a potential conflict of interest. And then for the carousel, one of the senior board members, we have a relationship with as far as our insurance.
Anyone else? Anyone else? Not hearing anything, we can move on to the next section.
So we reviewing TOT facility grant applications. I don't know the process exactly from past years, but do we go down the list or just talk through them?
So I've created a PowerPoint presentation that kind of goes over some of the highlights. If there are questions that you have that from reading the application, I do have the PDF versions of the applications ready to take and pull up, so we can look at those. I just want to make sure that everybody's been able to gain access to where those PDFs are saved for the applications. No issues. Okay, good. And also, if you wanted to have a hard copy printout, like the ones that Christy has and some of the others, let us know. And Kelly will take care of that for you. Nothing else. We'll go ahead and start for the applications. The first application that we have is from our facility operator, Gilbert House Children's Museum. They applied for their annual facility operator grant and a capital improvement grant, which is for a farm to market exhibit room remake, basically, for $20,000 for that capital improvement. They're basically creating a new exhibit in one of the rooms at the location. to basically share how we go take things from farming to get it to the market. And then they have their event grant that they requested is actually more of a project grant for targeted ads campaign. 10,000. There's any questions on those applications?
Appreciated this application, seeing the number of visitors from outside of Salem. It's nice information to have.
The next application that we received was from the Deepwood Museum and Gardens. They applied for their annual facility operator grant and then event grant. They've been doing the public events. There's actually 5 dates on there instead of 4 for this next round. But those are the dates: October 31st, December 5th, March 19th, 20th, and 27th. And they're asking for 8,000. A little familiarity with Deepwood. Next one is the Hallie Ford Museum of Art. They applied for their annual facility operator grant, as well as a capital improvement grant for carpet repair and replacement. And then an event grant for the Destination Elsinore multimedia marketing project, or the media project. Any comments or questions about those applications?
For Deepwood, going back, so that was a $8,000 request out of a possible $10,000.
Correct.
Appreciate aligning with the grid that we were providing this year as
Yes.
far as how much to request.
On that spreadsheet, when you get to the events tab, and you guys actually have printed ones here in the room, you'll see at the very top of there's past attendance factor added that too, because of the new request for how much funding people want to receive based on attendance levels. I went back to last year's attendance reports and took those attendance numbers, put those in there where I had that information available. So that way you can, at your leisure, take and review that. And
What are
find it.
those two numbers?
So the other number,
But there's one in the yellow and then there's one below it. Are those 2 separate numbers?
they are 2 separate numbers.
Okay.
So the one below the yellow line is the dollar amount that they're requesting. So on the table on the application, actually we pulled that up real quick.
While he's pulling that up, your hard copies tonight are just the events. I didn't realize that there were 3 tabs to open and print all 3 sets for you. So you don't have facility operators, but the facility operators that also have an event are highlighted there in yellow instead of orange. So you do have that for scoring your events, but for facility operators and CIP, you do not have to score there. If anyone wants the other thing, it's just, there was a printout about the matrix too. Yeah. Anyone wanted that.
Thank you.
Okay, so we were talking about Deepwood or so this so the event attendance and recommended funding request. So there's how many people anticipated and how much they should be requesting funding. So for this one, they're anticipating between 3,000 to 6,000 attendees to warrant the $8,000 request. On some of the projects, the marketing projects, that's probably a little bit harder to score on what they're asking for that. Oh, they're asking full 10,000. Marketing is probably easier to reach more people. I don't know what the rhyme or reason behind that is, but you can take a look on here and see, okay, well then they're anticipating that their targeted ads campaign will reach more than 6,000 people, more than 10,000. And then, of course, with the new requirement for marketing, 25% of whatever they receive the TOT grant. So they're gonna spend at least the $1,500 out of 10,000 on marketing, but if their whole thing is a marketing target ads campaign, then you guys can discuss where they should be targeting on or how that can be impacted. So, all right. Any other applications you want to take a look at this point? Or questions?
Just an observation. When I was looking at the budget and when they were putting the numbers together, and several of the grantees, agencies, companies, they're operating at a deficit. And so that was kind of like really interesting to see that. I mean, I'm glad that we're here to help out. And again, I'm glad with the process of having that that percentage going into marketing. And the rest would probably balance out those deficits that they have. But then again, it just brings that question of how are they budgeting through the years, you know, and carrying on their company. So I don't know, that was just one of those observations that I had.
Or are you talking about like the facility operator budgets that they were providing, or are you talking about event grants or?
Yeah, just like the, I guess.
Revenue expenditure, you got this one here. Total revenue was 1.3 million and expenditures were almost 35,000, 37,000 more.
It's just an example of one of them where they are, you know, they're more expenses than the revenue. So it was just a detail that I observed. So
Okay. Well, I don't have any explanations for those, but definitely something to be aware of. Should we move on? All right. So we talked about Deepwood, and now we have Hallie Ford. We talked about Hallie Ford. So we have the talk about Elsinore. Now it's Hallie Ford.
Yes.
Hallie Ford has their annual facility operator grant. Knew about that. One thing that I did realize is that Theater 33 is also part of the Willamette University, which is also the overarching structure for the Hallie Ford Museum of Art. So maybe I should be adding the Theater 33 event that we put on every year for the new plays on the slide in the future. But for now, we'll leave for next January, February meeting.
I have an observation with this one too. They provided a financial report for the university as well. I'd like to see more on just the museum side of it, because it talks about like the dorms and defense and all that kind of stuff that they have. It, I mean, that's great for that university, but I mean, if we are funding for the museum, then I'd like to see what that revenue and the expenditure for the museum would be. Mm-hmm.
Any other comments or suggestions?
Chris, what suggestions that might have follow-up? Is there a process for that within the scope of the next few months, or?
As far as getting something more specific, last year the board made the direction that they didn't want to receive any additional feedback from the applicants. So they were going to base their scores based on what was submitted. And so for this particular case, obviously they provide a lot more than what you really needed. But you know, with John being here in the audience, he's able to hear what you're looking for. You want something a little more specific. He can take that back and work on how they did that for next year.
Chris, we could I can interject, we could certainly, provide a detailed budget. We split the application budget, which, is not real detailed. And then we submit, because we don't have any kind of audit part of it. But forward, certainly provide you with the detailed, annual operating function.
There's a separation from the museum from the university to see what's the actual revenue and expense or the profit and loss from that.
Sure.
From that facility, so.
Next up is the Salem Art Association. Their annual facility operating grant was submitted, and their event for the Salem Art Fair and Festival is an annual event that happens every year. Next up, we also received the Salem Multicultural Institute annual facility operating grant request, as well as event grant for the World Beat Festival. If you have any questions or want to talk about any of these, let me know. Next up is the Salem Riverfront Carousel. They have their annual operator grant and their annual Santa at the Carousel.
It's always a great turnout. Kind of fun to watch him arrive.
Next up is the Willamette Art Center. This year, they only applied for the facility operator grant.
We heard any updates on them getting settled in out at their new,
They did get a new location.
yep, it's going well, and we haven't heard.
I could answer that question, but I know you don't really want my feedback right now, so.
You maybe will slide some stuff in at the end when we're talking about what's upcoming events.
That's what I'm planning for. Yep.
Great.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Lisa. And last up is the Willamette Heritage Center. They applied for their annual facility operator grant, capital improvement grant for the Library, Archives, and Research Center, LARC. They're doing an exterior paint and preservation project. They're asking for 20,000. And then their annual event is the Magic at the Mill. And that brings us to the end of those applications that we were going to be reviewing tonight. Are there any questions, concerns?
And mine's kind of backtracking a little bit. I totally forgot one more thing that has to do with me and Salem Art Association that is gonna happen. I'm gonna be curating a show in 26.
Okay.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that.
That's why we do this at every public meeting when we're reviewing these applications. So
Yeah.
Right. So we'll ask you to recuse yourself from scoring something to Salem Association for this year. All right. Let's see. Next on our schedule. Let's see. Fund report. Yep.
While Chris is getting that pulled up, who is Angel? What organization are you with? Our guest from the audience.
I am actually the Fair and Festival Director for the Salem Art Association as well as for World Beat. So I do both simultaneously.
Okay.
And do we already have your email? Do you get the TOT partners emails?
I do not. Kathleen asked me to just join in and observe. So
If you want to put that in the chat, then I'll have it.
Oh,
That wouldn't be a bad thing.
yeah, I can definitely do that.
Okay.
I will be adding two because I have two separate emails for one for each of the organizations.
That would be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so on to the Cultural and Tourism Fund report for the end of November. Collections were almost 1.9 million. Last year at this time, it was 2.1 million. Last year was our highest revenue generation, as Andy pointed out. So should be concerned, possibly there's some unknown economic impacts going on right now. I'll be getting ready to do the forecast pretty soon. We're trying to figure out, you know, where we're going to end up at the end of this year and what's going to happen for the following year. But yeah, overall down about 10% year over year for the same time frame in the revenue collections. The beginning fund balance is lower, so that also impacts the number of interest earnings not coming in quite as high. Interest rates have been cut as well, so all of those factors are, you know, reflected in the lower dollar amounts for our interest earnings. But that all to be said, we still have 4.9 million. We budgeted for 7.6 and 8.2. Basically budgeted for what we anticipate receiving. So if we do come up short, we'll be dipping into our reserves, which is why we have a reserve. So far, we're not spending quite as much as we did last year, which is good because the revenues are down. Our expenses are down 22%. So that's helping. On par with where we were last year for events being paid out. So not too much difference there. So when we take a closer look at the revenues, here you can see the last few years since 2022 and how we've been doing on a monthly basis. So yeah, and you talked about the 27% reduction in the month of November activity levels. So we brought in 370 for the month of November, which was actually October activity, but it's reported and provided to the city by the end of November. And so that puts us right in between the 2023 and 2024 levels, 362 and 393. So what does that really mean? It's anybody's ball game. I anticipate we'll probably end up being somewhere around, you know, about 4.8 million. So we'll be below what we anticipated receiving for the year, but we'll see how that goes. Is there any questions? Yep. Let's see. Next up is going to be all of the reports that were received. Let's see if I can back up to the top. That all listed out. So for your reading enjoyment, informational items were facility operating grant reports. We received Deepwood's first quarter report, Elsinore Theater's second quarter report, Salem Multicultural Institute first quarter and their annual report, Salem Riverfront Carousel's second and annual reports, and then Willamette Art Center's first and annual reports as well. So those are all in your packet. Since I sent out this, I've received a few more quarterly reports, so they're not reflected in this, but they'll be mentioned at the January meeting. Events that have taken place and we've received reports include the Kaylee in the Valley Samhain Celtic New Year Festival, the Inglewood Forest Festival, Hoopla 26, Mano a Mano's Urban Festival, Salem Art Fair's Art Fair and Festival, and Theater 33's Summer Plays. events all took place. And again, those are in your informational packet. You can look at those at your leisure. And next thing on the agenda, the roundtable discussion of an appearance of interested citizens. Unless the board has any, and then after that, any other business. John, you have anything you want to share with us?
Well, 2 days left to see Memories and Inspiration, which is an exhibition of African American art from the Harry and C. Betty Davis collection. It's been opened at end of September and closes on December 20th. It's been a really popular exhibition. We brought a lot of people down from Portland and up from Eugene to see the exhibition because it is, you know, arguably one of the finest private collections of African American art in the country. So that closes on December 20th. We'll be closed for 2 weeks for winter break. We'll reopen on January 5th. The Crow Shadow Institute of the Arts Biennial will continue through June 20th. On January 24th, we're opening a new exhibition. I don't know if anybody here remembers Dan May, D.E. May. Dan was a local Salem artist. We're organizing a major retrospective for him called D.E. May Postcards from Island Salem. He referred to Salem as Island Salem. And he was really a wonderful artist. He studied with Larry Stovey at Western Oregon College of Education. He could have gone on to Portland or Seattle, but he chose to live in Salem and really maintain his art practice here. He died rather tragically from pancreatic cancer in 2019. And just as he was really beginning to kind of emerge onto the national scene, he got a Hallie Ford Visual Arts Fellowship, had a couple of big shows in Los Angeles, and literally was just beginning to emerge, like I say, onto the national art scene when he died. He's a little like a Joseph Cornell kind of character, you know, kind of somewhat art trained, but also, you know, self-taught. We're doing a lot of programming around the exhibition. Well, number one, we're publishing a 208-page full-color book that's going to be distributed by Oregon State University Press. But we're also doing a lecture on January 24th. We're doing a couple of gallery talks in February and March. We're doing a panel discussion, kind of a conversation among Dan's friends, because he very much was a Salem institution. And then on the final day of the exhibition, which will be March 21st, we're going to have pre-admission that day in kind of celebration of Dan. But he also had a studio. Actually, he had two studios. One studio was on Ferry Street. He called it the Legionnaires Club. And after he got the Hallie Ford Visual Arts Fellowship grant, he rented another space at 180 Commercial Street and called it the Smalls. And that's where he showed his work and met with potential curators and customers. And after Dan died, they moved his studio from the Legionnaires Club to the Smalls. And so we're going to have an open house on the 21st. It's a very small space. So it's going to be kind of on a first come, first served basis. Actually, I brought copies of the announcement card. Thank you. And good. Yeah, you bet. Yeah, Dan was an institution, and we're excited to be able to mount this exhibition for him. Quickly, I am writing a history of the Hallie Ford Museum of Art. As most of you know, I'm going to be retiring in September next year. After 50 years as museum director on the West Coast. I'm retiring on September 4th, 2026, because I started work on September 8th, 1976 as the founding director of the Bellevue Art Museum up in Washington State. If I retire on September 4th, 2026, as the founding director of the Hallie Ford Museum of Art, I will have been in the profession for exactly 50 years. And so I've been, in addition to managing the museum, writing TOT grants and other things, I've also been working on a history of the Hallie Ford Museum of Art, which we intend to publish, hopefully on the occasion of my retirement in September. It's my gift to Willamette, to Salem, to Oregon, because, and it's a fascinating history, even though, you know, we've only been around for 28 years, 27, 28 years. You know, the history of Willamette goes all the way back to the 19th century. And some of the stories associated with our collectors, we've had some really interesting and eccentric collectors over the years. And some of the stories associated with our exhibitions and some of our programs will all be told in, this is actually the manuscript of it, about 30,000 words now, and I'm about halfway finished. So, but it's going to be a great publication, I think, and a fun publication. So, yeah, that's what I'm doing. We're working on transition planning, you know, so we don't know yet, you know, whether we're gonna, Willamette hasn't made the decision yet whether they're gonna do a national search or whether possibly an internal promotion. You know, so they'll make that determination in January, and then you know, we'll just begin kind of that transition planning. So, yeah, there you go. Thank you, John. Good. Thank you.
I'd like to say, John, you're gonna be a hard man to replace.
Oh, yeah.
Personally, I can say that you contributed a great deal to the facility.
Well, thank you, Roger.
You did a lot.
Well, I've enjoyed our association as well. You know, when you were director of the Willamette Art Center, and I could say the same for you. So, but thank you.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, no, I do. A lot of people.
Okay.
All right. How about online? Let's see, Lisa, Willamette Art Center. Lisa Joyce. You have any announcements? Sorry. All right. Maybe Lisa stepped away. Let's see. Salem Multicultural Institute. Anybody there that'd like to share any upcoming events?
This is Lisa. I'm so sorry.
Sure,
I was driving in through the ridiculous weather to my home in Silverton, and all of my usual paths are shut down because of accidents. So anyway, I'm sitting in a parking lot because I do want to share some very exciting news about Willamette Art Center. We opened today registration for our winter session that starts January 5th. And what's super exciting about this upcoming session is that we have some new, and Roger would know this, but new to us offerings. We have programming for preschool children, elementary children, high school children, middle school children, and alternatives. Not all of it is clay based. We're offering some really exciting programming to learn about special glazing techniques, etc. And of course, orienting our patrons to our new space, which is quite remarkable. It's taken us, yes, the full 6 months to get the space built out, but we are opening in January, and we are thrilled to be back serving the public that we love and the people who need a creative space. And that's the big news. Family Clay Sunday comes back in February, on February 1st. And that's most of what you need to know. Spread the word if you know homeschoolers, moms, stay-at-home moms or dads who want to get out of the weather and coincide and listen to a story and create some art. We've got those opportunities. We've got opportunities for teenagers to learn to create at the wheel. And the biggest news, the biggest difference between this space and our old space is that we will have Open Studio available approximately 90% of the days that we are open, Monday through Saturday. So we have 8 new Open Studio wheels. We have a hand building space. It is luxurious for those who want to just come in and do their thing, sit at a wheel or sit and kibitz with their friends and build things by hand. It's a wonderful thing. We have a new classroom that will be for non-clay classes. Initially, we're just starting with some of those preschool, middle school classes I discussed earlier, but we are hoping to bring in artists from of all disciplines, all media, so that we can expand beyond the 3D to the 2D to the whatever in the coming months.
Thank you, Lisa.
Happy to answer your question.
Can you remind us of the location now?
Yeah, thank you. We are at 3995 Fairview Industrial Drive Southeast. So the closest, well, you know, you drive past the soy sauce people if you're coming from Salem, if you're coming the way I come, down Cordon to Kubler, we're really close to I-5. The building now has a power assisted front door, so people in a wheelchair using a walker or hauling 50 pounds of clay can get in or out without having to wrangle a door. We have air conditioning and heat, so we're not going to be sweltering in the summer and cold in the winter. So many features of this new space are exciting, and particularly that we have a separate pottery or wheel, I'm sorry, a separate wheel classroom. So when that wheel classroom's going on, you could still be out playing at an Open Studio wheel or hand building or glazing your projects. It's just offering a lot of options and more opportunities for folks to come together.
Awesome. So Fairview Industrial Road, just past the soy sauce plate.
Yeah, you go past the soy sauce place. We're close to the fire marshal. There's a school where the Salem Kaiser makes the food is near there. It's a really interesting eclectic group of neighbors.
Oh, good.
But on public transit, on bike lanes, plentiful parking, no closures for fair activities, you know, which was really limiting our revenue toward the end there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Angel or anyone from the Salem Multicultural Institute have anything to share? What's coming up?
I'm just very excited. I am new to the position at the Salem Multicultural Center and at Salem Art Association. I think I'm 2.5 months in as the festival director for both. So I am working on planning the World Beat Festival right now, and we're going through all the planning phases, and then the same for the Salem Art Fair and Festival as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited to be doing both of these.
Great. Tara, anything from Travel Salem?
Sorry, yeah, I would just share quickly that we have what we call the Mopo Mixer coming up on January 29th. This is just a casual, anybody's welcome to stop in. It'll be at the Masonry Grill this time from 4 to 6 p.m. And it's just a chance for anybody to come by, chat with us, make connections with other folks in the industry, enjoy a beverage and some appetizers, and yeah, just come on out.
Great, thank you. Well, I believe that takes care of those aspects. Next on the agenda items, or on the agenda, is the other business or parking lot items for discussion. Anything from the board?
All right, well, just a reminder, next meeting will be Thursday, January 15th. Without further discussion, we are adjourned. Thank you.